And today's show, I'm so excited. She is the founder of Jolie Gotique, a unique business offering one-of-a-kind shopping and fashion experience at some of the most exclusive private events in the tri-state area. Today, she's my special guest for the hour. I'm thrilled to welcome to my show, Penny Goffman.
Hello, Wendy. I'm so excited to be here.
You're the cutest thing in the planet.
So are you.
No, seriously. I feel like we've known each other.
Absolutely.
We've been Instagram friends for a little while now.
Social media can do that, but you're that kind of person. Very open, personable, so I feel that way as well.
Thank you. I'm so happy to meet you, and I can't wait to share with my audience all about you. So let's start off. Tell us about Penny before 2 kids, husband, this fabulous career that's so exciting, and everyone's going to want to hear about you. I know you're originally from Montreal, Canada.
Yes. So born and raised in Montreal till I was 22 years old.
Wow.
And, Montreal is a huge, huge influence on my current business, my current life, because it's very European there. I had an amazing upbringing in terms of fashion. My dad was actually in the schmata business, which basically means like the garment business.
Yep, I got that.
And he, owned a manufacturing company that used to make clothes. I would go to his factory all the time. So that part of my life in terms of childhood really influenced my personal taste and my entrepreneurial spirit. But also, Montreal is a home to some of the most fast fashion in the world. Even though there's no actual fashion week there, I have to tell you, if you have ever been to Montreal or any of your listeners have been, you will see that the men and women equally are some of the best dressed I've ever seen. My husband, who goes back every time, feels like he's got to step up his game when we go there. So definitely my upbringing in Montreal had a huge influence on my personal style today.
Unbelievable. I like that you said the schmata business.
Yes.
Like, I know not a lot of people would know what that meant, but I got it right away.
Yes.
So then you moved?
So I moved to the city after undergrad.
Okay.
I was in business. My original and still today passion was in finance. So I'm a numbers girl as well.
Okay.
And where else to move but New York City to be in finance. And I did that for several years, where I met my current husband about 6 months after moving to the city.
Oh, wow.
That
was quick.
Yeah, it was too quick. I mean, I love him to death, but I thought it was going to be Carrie Bradshaw in Sex and the City. And, I got hunkered down very early, but all for the best.
Yes.
So moved to the city, lived an amazing, fun life there, right, with no worries.
I knew we were just alike.
Yeah, exactly. I totally enjoying every bit of the city until one day I got married and my husband had been reverse commuting to Greenwich for 4 years. And as soon as we got married, he basically turned to me and said, okay, so we're going to move to Connecticut now? I had never even been to Connecticut. Coming from Montreal, everyone knew New York, but Connecticut was not really on my radar.
Right.
I had barely heard of it. So that's basically how we ended up in the suburbs, which I'm thrilled. And as a mother now, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But we did move out of the city for that reason originally. Had he not been reverse commuting, we still might have lived in the city, I feel. So
I was going to ask you, okay, so after college, I moved to New York City.
Yes.
And was a television producer, which you probably know.
Yep.
So I love that life, like so exciting. But then after September 11th was when I kind of said,
Yeah.
I had 2 babies back to back and I had to get out.
Yeah.
But I always wonder, what would it have been like
Right.
if we had stayed in the city and raised our kids there?
Yeah, I think it is a whole other different life. I'm so grateful for the life we have here in Fairfield County in Greenwich. I am a local Greenwich mom, so I'm so grateful for that. I think that, I might not have known that life, so I was definitely, the city was so just entertaining and, stars were lit all the time in my mind about the city. But I am grateful that did push us to move to the suburbs. And we actually originally moved even before we had kids, because he had already been reverse commuting. So that was definitely interesting at the time.
I bet. Because that's a little different when you don't have kids and you're here.
It is. It's definitely a little bit different, but the kids came shortly after, so all was good. And
you kind of got settled and you were finding your ways around.
Well,
and
he
everything.
really swooned me here because, we came from like a tiny apartment in the city, and he basically found this gorgeous new construction, small home at the time. And I thought I was playing, like fairy princess in a house. Because coming from the city, that's what it felt like.
Right.
Brand new construction, big kitchen, and I was like, okay,
Grass.
we'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. Green.
So it's basically how he got me out here.
So it worked. Whatever he did worked.
It
okay.
worked.
So then you got married.
So we got married, and we currently have 2 children. We have Jaden and Jolie. Jaden is 7, my boy, and Jolie, my daughter, who is also my business is named after, is 10 years old now. So yeah, she's like, a tween. I can't get over. Sometimes I can't believe that I'm a mom of a tween, as you probably feel about, college-age children, right?
I'm still young.
I think I'm 20.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how did this happen?
How did it happen? Exactly.
Right.
So we're out here, and about 3.5 years ago was when I basically launched a business, but there had been more going on before that. Basically, I had, my children, and there was always a part of me. I started doing, private styling on the side just by word of mouth, because I think that I had a little bit of a more unique style for the town I lived in. It's a little bit more edgy. It's very Montreal, a little bit more European. And there was a calling for that as more and more people we know from the city are moving out to the area.
Right.
And so I dabbled in that when I had my children at first, and I was so grateful. I am grateful that I had the ability to be home with them pretty much full time at the beginning, but then it crept up on me, and that feeling of, needing to do something else besides being a mom and what that would be, and that, basically, lightning went off, and and voila.
Right. I feel like that too. I'm like, what would I, it's great. I was team mom for football, team mom for this, PTA, all that stuff. But then you think, like, one day they're going to go off and have their life. And then what are we going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is why I launched this show, which is almost 10 years old, because so we have something. And I think that's important for moms, because you have to be somebody else besides your kid's mom.
Yeah.
And it shows them a lot too.
Yeah, it does show them up. Oh my gosh. I didn't know the effect it would have on my children, specifically my daughter, that if you asked her, and this happens all the time, she's written it in personal essays at school. I'm like amazed. They wrote it in yearbooks for her, where basically she has been quoted saying, I want to be an entrepreneur. And she uses that word. I want to be an entrepreneur when I grow up.
And she's 10.
She's 10. I want to own my own business when I grow up. I want to take over Jolie Gotique when I grow up. I mean, she's been quoted like at camp, at school. She's written it in essays, and I'm amazed because I didn't know that it would have such an effect on her.
How amazing is that, though?
That's been a big surprise, actually.
That's so cool. Okay, so let's talk about Jolie Gotique and how that all began, and tell us all about it.
Okay, so basically, I wanted to find a way to mix my love of finance and numbers and business, which I hadn't abandoned, with, this sort of a little bit growing business with styling and fashion, and coming to the realization that, wow, there were people around the area who actually admired my sense of style, wanted my opinion, and also wanted to tap into some of the lines that weren't readily available locally. So that's, I started brainstorming, and my husband would tell you that I had probably like 20 business ideas before this. So clearly this was something, just my calling to start something of my own. But I had never pounced on any of them until Jolie Gotique. So I basically launched the LLC 3.5 years ago, and it's been a little over 3 years since the actual launch of the business. And it's multifaceted. I originally launched myself. It was about April 2016.
Okay.
And launched with this fashion truck concept. So basically, I wanted to have a boutique, but I really did not want to have a brick and mortar. I wasn't interested in actually being open 6 or 7 days a week. I wanted it to be more personal, more one-on-one, more private, exclusivity to it. Because I also wanted to have the flexibility of being a mom and being able to tap into being there for my children. I was trying to figure out a way. We all know that rent is very high in our town and in the local areas. That was a big concern of mine. I want to be able to sleep at night. I am a number cruncher, so I crunched my numbers. And basically, at the time, food trucks were becoming really popular. And I was seeing the Lobster Truck and Wendy's Wieners. And I'm very observant, was really following them, actually literally following them. I stalked some of these trucks. I went up to the Lobster.
Like, I'm in disguise stalking.
I was like, what generator do you have? How big is your truck? I mean, I was emailing, I was calling, very persistent, doing my diligence on the food truck business. I went to Greenwich Library, which is an amazing, beautiful library here, and took out books on food trucks and mobile trucks. Believe it or not, there were like 3 at the library. I read them cover to cover, took notes on them. I mean, before I decided that I was really going to do this. And then I basically went to my husband, who really is very much a decision maker with me. You know, any big decision, I when I say pass through him, it's not because I need his approval. It's because I want his opinion. That's been something that's been really important to me. And I basically went to him with a business model, and I was like, here you go, laid it down in front of him. Will you invest?
Will you invest in your wife? Bob's even getting a chuckle out of that one.
Exactly.
That's so cute.
And he said, of course. And then that was it, basically. So
just like that.
Just like that.
Well, you're a business person, so you had the plan. It wasn't like you said, okay, well, I'm going to start this.
No,
you know.
I had a plan. You know, it was a loose plan because, let's face it, there's not that much. You know, a fashion truck is not exactly the same model as a brick and mortar. So, so you know, it was a loose plan because I had to estimate how many events I would do and there was a lot of things I had to really predict and estimate that were not going to be certain. But he's been a huge supporter, a huge cheerleader, and he said yes right away, and we never looked back.
And it's the very first fashion truck in Westchester and Fairfield, Greenwich.
It is, yes, absolutely. It is the only one, at least that I know of, or anyone that I know.
I wanted to park it right out here at WGCH so bad. We will do that. We will park. We will do another show.
We'll get it here
inside that truck somewhere, someplace, someday.
Absolutely.
Just because, how cool is that? It's like, and I love the design of it. So where is it parked at your house now?
So it is parked at my house.
Okay.
That's where it lives. It hibernates and takes a nap during the winter.
Did your daughter and her friends go in there?
Oh my gosh, everyone's in there. My son, 7-year-old, he's in charge of cleaning it. I mean, he has been spotted outside with play dates with like squeegees cleaning that thing, and they have the best play dates. Like, I don't ask them to, they just do it. It is a full-fledged part of the family. It's our third baby. It's named after my daughter, Jolie. And it carries, part of that was really strategic in the branding way back when. So I knew that it was going to have a girls and women's collection. And here I am, a woman, and I have a daughter, and I certainly couldn't afford models. And my daughter and I had never modeled before, but I basically was like, hey, Jolie, you want to represent the girls' collection? Because I'm going to represent the women's, because mommy can't afford to pay a model right now to do so. And because of that, I decided to name it after her. Plus, if anyone speaks French, Jolie means pretty in French. Being from Montreal, that was also significant for me as well, and my daughter's name. So there was a lot of strategy behind that. And basically, what grew out of that was that I also didn't fully anticipate was that my daughter and I, being the faces, would really become intertwined with the brand. And I didn't realize sort of how, valuable that would become in building my business. I didn't realize that once I put my face out there, modeled in the clothing, shared a little bit about my family, of course, because she was in them. And sometimes my husband or son makes an appearance on social media or on the website. I didn't realize how much people would connect with that aspect of it, this mother-daughter duo. So that's also been, it's amazing when you're in business, as the surprises, things that you didn't realize that would hold a lot of value and be precious. So that's also been really fun. We just had a photo shoot yesterday.
So cute.
So, as my daughter, and she loves it. Yeah, she loves it, and she wants to keep going. I was like, okay, you're done. I'm going to continue in a few more outfits. And she was like, no, I want my outfit. But she definitely, she's 10 years old. So now she's like giving direction. Right. She has her own opinions. I don't want to wear this. I want to wear this. Yeah.
Right.
It's changing.
My friends are going to see me. My
friends are going to see me. Absolutely. That's huge. Yeah. She needs approval on the photos. 3 years ago, I didn't ever show her a photo.
Right.
It's definitely different.
And it will continue. Wait. Oh boy.
Yeah.
We got some things coming on. If you just tuned, I'm talking to Penny Goffman. She is the founder of Jolie Gotique, a unique business offering one-of-a-kind shopping and fashion experience at some of the most exclusive private events in the tri-state area. Okay, so there's 3 of you now.
There are 3 of us now. So
how did that happen?
Stacy joined on 6 months after launch in the fall of 2016. She is a mom from Rybrook. She has 2 boys. It came very organically. She popped out of the clear blue sky, basically. I was on the fashion truck at an event in Rybrook. We had a common friend. I had never met her. She came on at the end of the event and basically said, hi, I'm Stacy. We emailed, and I want to work with you. She has a great fashion background. She's worked in retail for a lot. She's a designer. And, I actually had a job that was happening that I really needed another hand with, and I had no one booked for it. And I was like, great, you're in. You're working next week with me. And voila, that was it between us. You know, she started working then, and we never looked back. And then in January, you know, and it's always very, you know, nerve-wracking still when you're making a big change. But
Sure.
I knew I needed to bring someone else on. I wasn't exactly certain. You know, I knew some roles and responsibilities, but